I don't know if you're going to be able to hear me because there's a lot of background noise, but nothing to lose, give it a shot. So in this video, I want to talk about something that I know all of you are struggling with 100%, and something that everybody struggles with at some point in their life, not just at one point. This is like an ongoing thing, and I've been through this so many times myself, and technically I'm still going through this as well, but the difference between me and you is I've overcome this more. Maybe you haven't overcome this at all. So let's get to the root problem. So first we're talking about fear and anxiety. So social anxiety, life anxiety, anxiety in general. When I get down to it, really they're all the same. Now the fears may be different situation. They may be situational different. Sorry, I couldn't get my words out there. So, social anxiety is obviously the fear of talking to people. It's the fear of being around people, fear of socializing. Life anxiety is, what life brings up in you. Your financial worries, your relationship fears, your responsibilities, politics, what's going on in the world, COVID-19, family, health, and probably a little bit more, but that's basically the gist. And then you got your own personal fears and demons. Like everybody's got a fear of public speaking until they do it and become desensitized. Everyone's got a fear of selling and making money and being rejected as well in selling and being successful. Everybody has that fear until they face it numerous times, right? So this is nothing out of the ordinary, and that's what I want to explain today. This is not abnormal what you're going through. It's just that it makes you feel ashamed, embarrassed, not good enough, because in your own head you will compare yourself to other people that you feel are not going through what you're going through, and you compare what they've got, their life, to your life, and their life looks different to yours. But the real truth is, the only truth is that they are going through that. Maybe they're not going through it right now because they've overcome it, but at some point in time they felt the way that you felt. They felt anxious, they felt afraid, they felt intimidated, they felt not good enough, they felt ashamed, they felt disgraced, they felt guilty, they felt angry, they felt depressed, they felt lonely. Everybody goes through this stuff. Now, what I want to talk about today, I don't want to lose the thought as I'm doing this video because I'm just having a coffee and it counts. I've got to do a video on this. Basically what all of you are going through, right? And I've had this with every single client I've ever coached. So I'm talking about clients that I worked with 10 years ago, of the past, more recent. The pain that you're going through is the pain that you're going through is the pain of not taking action. So you're afraid to face your fears because you're afraid of what's going to come, the consequences. You're afraid of being hurt, basically. So you're afraid of leaving your house and going to a social event in case you meet people and you feel embarrassed, you feel very uncomfortable around them, and they judge you, you get awkward, you don't know what to say, or you figure out that they are better than you in some kind of way, right? So that's so painful for you right now. That thought, that idea hurts you. And that goes on to things like doing a video. Most people won't do what I'm doing, even though millions of people do it. Many people could do what I'm doing right now and deep down would love to do what I'm doing now, be passionate and teach or speak, do videos and not care what other people think. But you won't do it because you're scared of the pain that comes with it. So you're letting yourself off the hook because you don't feel pain. But the catch-22 of this is, when you don't face your fears because you're scared of the pain that you're going to experience through facing that fear, you get the worst type of pain ever. It's the worst pain. And I'm going to put this pain into one word so we can put it into a context, and then I'm going to break it down. I'm going to go deep and all around it. You feel like a coward. And that is the most offensive word to men. Like, that's worse than someone calling you, even though it's a horrible word, I don't want to swear. I don't really want to swear in general on streams, but I do sometimes. You forget anybody else. It's not about what other people think. You call yourself that. You call yourself a bloody coward. That's worse than calling yourself a CUNT or calling yourself a lowlife or a loser, even though those things are not, I don't ever recommend anyone says that about themselves, but this is the truth. This is how you feel. And the reality is, even by the dictionary definition, that's true, you are that. We are that when we don't take our responsibilities and we don't face our fears as men. Now, that doesn't mean, I'm not saying you should sit down and treat yourself like trash and hate yourself and not love yourself. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying about being accountable, being honest. Why do we even need to say accountable? When you're honest, you are accountable. So basically, the solution is, and this is the challenging bit, you've got to face your fears. You have to do it. Whether you do it through getting my help, and if you're a nice person, a good person, you're coachable, and you want to work with me, fantastic, I'd love to do that. And by the way, I've got a Black Friday offer for the next 48 hours, 25% off all my coaching. So whether you do it with me, and I'm the best in the business when it comes to helping men to overcome their fears and take action. There's no one better than me. There's no one. I'm the best in the world. I know that is true in my own heart. Whatever anyone else thinks, I know from what I've done in my life, the experiences, and what is consistently true. If I'm not the right mentor for you, that's completely Bob's your uncle. Find a mentor who is the right mentor. Or if you don't need a mentor, do what I done years ago when I was broke. I couldn't afford anything. I had nothing. I went out and did it on my own. So whether you go on your own, whether you do it with me, whether you do it with another mentor, there's only so many choices. Now, the crazy thing is, listen to this, a message for all of us. Most fears, I'm not going to say all of them, but the majority of them, when you are in the fear and you're staring it right in the face and you're feeling into it, when you're there in the fear, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's actually beautiful compared to where you are now. Where you are now, and myself, I'm going to call myself out occasionally because I'm taking a lot of action lately. I could do more. Where I am sometimes and where you are is agony for us. It's like it kills our soul as men. It really does. And listen, I don't want to generalize in that way, right? Because I know there's a lot of great women that watch my stuff, so I'm like, same for women. You know, it doesn't have to just be a gender thing, but I'm just speaking to the male problem that we have. You know, we've been taught this in our culture, so who's to blame? I can point fingers at everyone. I'm not going to do that. We want to take responsibility so we can be better men and we can be better human beings and be kinder and nicer to everybody else, or at least, you know, as many people as we can. So, hold on. That's all good. Sorry, can I get one more water? Thank you, love. No, that's fine, thank you. So, I just lost my train of thought, hold on. I really got to get this. I want to help as many of you with this, right? And I want to get this truth out. It will change lives. So, like I said, it's two pains we have in our life. We can't get away from it. It's the pain of not facing our fears in our life, taking responsibility. And look, when I say fear, I don't want people devaluing it. This is a beautiful thing. Our dreams, our goals, whatever they are to you. So that can be going to the gym. That's why I keep putting the boxing videos out, because I always like to lead by example as best as I can. You know, it makes me feel good, my self-esteem, and it moves people quicker. Words are cheap. Not always, but they can be. If someone just talks and talks and they don't demonstrate and you don't see them doing it in their life, you won't respect them unless you know they're doing it. So I put those videos out to inspire men to face their fears in whatever area of their life. And I don't want to get specific. A lot of you get too specific. That's okay, but I don't want you to box and limit in what I'm saying. So fear is fear, that's how I look at it. Whether it's the fear to speak to women, whether it's the fear of public speaking, the fear of making money, the fear of admitting that you don't have any money and you're struggling, the fear of going to new places, the fear of friendships, the fear of changing things. It's just we compartmentalize it, which is fine. Sometimes we got to do that, but I'm trying to get you to think in a much bigger way about what you can do. Do you know what's crazy? Every one of you can do this. And the reason why I always say that is because I did it. And once I started doing it when I was young and I started this journey, and I felt so good when I faced my fears. This is just how I felt. It might help all of you. You've been through what I've been through. Because I grew up most of my life with feeling ashamed deep down, not feeling good enough. Not all the time, but for a lot of the time, and people putting me down and judging me, and growing up in a poor area. When I started facing my fears, and this is not coming from a bad place. I felt, it sounds a little bit deep, but well, I really did experience love. And obviously I'm thankful I got a lot of love from my mum, my dad, and my nan growing up, which I'm grateful, and aunties. But a feeling of actually liking yourself, I experienced that, and it kind of, for me, it healed me. In that moment, it took away all the pain of how people made me feel like a low life growing up, bullies and negative friends and people around my area and school, because I got confirmation of what I could do and how I could feel and how I wanted to feel. And I got confirmation that just because I went through all these negative things growing up and I was made to feel less than human, that I could get out of that feeling wasn't permanent. That was just, it was just temporary. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I started manning up and facing my fears. I could never have got that confirmation through books. And people always try to patronize me with the whole thing about you should read a book. It didn't do it for me, it didn't work. I tried it. But when I started facing my fears, you gain more confidence. So for me, during the COVID time, I had to face all my fears again, even though I'd done these things successfully. If you have a lot of time out from taking action, you lose your bottle as a guy. You become and this is the dictionary. I'm not calling any men cowards, and sometimes I'll say it if I want, but I'm not really saying that. I'm just talking facts. In the dictionary, go and look up what a coward means. Go now, it'll take you 5 minutes, have a read, and it's everything that I say. But you know that deep down. You don't need me to tell you that or not to tell you that. Whether I make you feel good or bad, you know in your own heart you don't feel good enough, you don't feel great when you're putting off what needs to be faced. And the crazy thing is, when you face it and you get through it, guys, you're going to be thanking me, and you're going to thank yourself more importantly. Thank you so much.
That's welcome. Enjoy.
It's got to be one of the best glasses of water I've ever had. So when you do it, I can't even find the words. I swear to God, every time I approach this subject, this is so emotional for me, and not in a clumsy way, meaningful. I can't get the words, but my friend actually, who I mentored years ago, he says I'm very good at articulating feelings in a way that can get across to people. But sometimes I think I struggle a little bit of it because of my background, because of the good qualities and my insecurities in the past. It can sometimes surface and get in the way of what I want to say. I'm trying to explain my feelings and my experiences and how I know you're going to feel through language, through words, and sometimes that's challenging, but that's fine. So it's going to take away the feelings that you don't want to feel. Not good enough, ashamed, feeling like you can't look people in the eye, you can't look women in the eye, like you're not attractive, you're not valuable, in every type of way, that you're not a man, you're not respectable. It takes all that away, and it's such an educational experience. That's why I try to explain to people that don't understand the level of consciousness that I'm speaking at when they say things like read a book to educate yourself. I'm saying that's a level of education, but I'm not on about that domain. My expertise is not in books. It's in helping men to face fear, terrifying fear, in any situation. So I've got a lifetime's worth of experience. My father made me do it when I was a teenager. I was petrified. I didn't want to do it. I used to be begging him to please let me off. He wouldn't. And I'm glad he didn't now. I'm older and I'm wiser and I see why he done it. To help me in life. I didn't know I could help so many people. You've got to face it at some point if you want to be happy. I'm not even going to say if you want to be happy, because that's just a part of it, and happiness comes and goes. If you want to break out of your anxiety of the prison, if you want to transform and change, if you want to prove all of your insecurities wrong,